Scott and I, my husband, have a design firm named Canvas Interior Design, and since the COVID pandemic, things really changed in our office. The dynamic, people didn't want to come to work anymore, and just people left, and so we were like, okay, we have this huge, wonderful space. What are we going to do with it? We just so happen to have this son that is very prolific in painting. He loves to paint, has to paint. It's his life. So we said, well, let's get his stuff out there. Let's have people come in and see it. And it's been wonderful. The space is amazing. It has a really good energy. Everybody loves it that comes, so we hope you enjoy it too. We want to keep having events, and that's it. So I do want to introduce Rick. He's a very good friend of mine. He is an advocate for the interior design industry. He is the founder of Design Biz Survival Guide, and he has a podcast where he interviews designers and gets their insight and shares it with the rest of the design community. It really is very special. And he is going to be our moderator today.
Can you hear me? All right. So I'm going to welcome up Griff and Sung Hee. I'm going to do a quick introduction of them. I'll share their bio with you, and then we'll start the panel discussion, and then we're going to switch out a couple of people, bring a couple of people up. So wherever you like, this is up here. Check, check. Don't push me too close to the edge. Should I stand?
It's 5 inches.
So let me start by introducing Griff. So you've seen his work in the main area here. Griff is a remarkable fine art painter hailing from Fountain Valley, right here locally. His work is characterized by vibrant colors, expressive brushstrokes, and a strong sense of narrative, all of which come together to create dynamic, eye-catching compositions, as you've seen if you walked through the gallery today. He's particularly known for his expressive use of color blocking, using bold, contrasting hues to create visually striking pieces. Griff believes in the power of art and is committed to using his talent to affect positive change in the world. Welcome, Griff. And so he is a Los Angeles-based curator specializing in contemporary art. She earned her Bachelor's of Fine Arts degree from, is that Montserrat?
Yep, Montserrat.
Montserrat College of Art, and has worked in the fine art field for over 20 years. Sung Hee started her career in Boston and New York City, working and learning about the art world in esteemed galleries and organizations such as Sotheby's, Art Auction House, James Cohen Gallery, Bernard Toll Gallery, and Pratt Institute. Now based in Los Angeles, Sung Hee creates exhibitions and cultural programming with a focus on supporting the development of emerging artists in their professional careers. So, welcome.
Thank you.
So I want to start by asking you two a couple of questions about your collaboration, how you met, that kind of stuff. But Sung Hee, I want to start by asking you to share a little bit more about your background beyond your bio. How did you become involved in the art world?
So I'm one of those people that when I was 5 years old, I had kind of like a random spiritual experience. And at 5 years old, I realized like that art was what I needed to do with my life. I'll tell you the story. Actually, I was in kindergarten, and we were having like World Cultural Week. So each day we would learn about different countries and different cultures. And the teacher had like these picture cards, you know, showing these different areas. And when she got to Paris, she had this picture of the Eiffel Tower, and she said, Paris, France is the art center of the world. This is where artists and poets and writers and philosophers all go. They gather in Paris, and they philosophize, and they get together, and they talk about world matters, and they make beautiful art and poetry. And they wear berets and drink coffee. And I was sold. I don't know, somehow I was like, oh my God, that is what I need to do. That's what I need to dedicate my life to. So that's actually what I've done. All my life I was always involved in art. I couldn't always go to school or take classes, but I would find other ways to be involved, like, I don't know, like art club, or I was always drawn to it, and it had to be part of my life. So eventually, like I said in the bio, I went to school out east, and then New York City was definitely, the focus and the goal. And I lived there for 10 years and worked in the art world and had just like spectacular, amazing experiences. I was really fortunate that I was always, and I still am, always somehow able to connect and be around really incredible people, incredible artists, creatives, people who are willing to take chances, who are thinking outside the box, who also, believe in creativity. So it's just continued on, and then I moved to LA about 15 years ago. I work as like an independent curator, designer, and artist myself. I love meeting and working with people like Griff, young talent. I mean, actually, it doesn't matter the age, really. It just, I love sharing of art, whatever it is. Do we put an exhibition together? Are we going to put a concert together? Are we going to, collaborate and make some artwork together?
Right.
So.
Let's talk about the collaboration for a second. How do you collaborate with artists, particularly, and how did you connect with Griff?
So Griff and I connected a year ago online. I was in the Hamptons at a working an art fair, and there was a woman who I one day, I think hopefully I'll meet her again, but she came through, we had a lovely conversation, and then we said goodbye, and then she came back by like 20 minutes later, and she said, I really like your gallery, and I know this artist that I think you should really check him out, because I think you'd like his work and you'd work well with you guys. So she showed me his Instagram. We connected just on Instagram. Actually, I don't think we even spoke. We just started following each other. But then the conversation started, and Griff invited me to come check out his work.
He charmed you.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So it took a while to get down here, but once I did, I was blown away, as I'm sure all of you have been. And then here we are.
Oh, Griff, we're not going to let you off easy.
What?
Let's go back. I know the story because I've known you for a long time, but for everyone else that has walked through the gallery and have seen your work, tell us about the moment when you were like, hey, I need to paint. Like, when did you discover that you were an artist?
I lost my best friend when I was 23, and at his funeral, my grandma died. So after that, I had been doing hip-hop music for a long time, but it wasn't enough for me to, I couldn't get all of my things I had to say, things I had felt from inside out of me. And then my homegirl, Antwin, actually gave me a canvas and some paint one night, and we painted. And since then, I just went crazy. I had to, it's like, it's a necessity. It's not something that I'd take lightly. It's probably the reason that I'm still alive. If I didn't have a blessing like that, I wouldn't be here. You know what I mean?
So you mentioned that you're a musician and songwriter. How does that influence your artistic vision, and how does it translate onto the canvas?
I think it's a little bit different because with the music, I'm more planned. It's more studied in a different way. So it's more calculated. With the art, I'm not classically trained. I basically studied a bunch of Picasso, a bunch of Kondo, a bunch of Twombly, stuff like that, and then figured out how to attack it in a way that was conducive to my own personal style. So it's a little more free of expression.
And there's different types of expression. So there's figurative, and then there's abstract. Like, what does each mean? Like, what strikes you and says, I'm just going to go completely abstract, or maybe a little more?
When I paint, I don't see what I'm painting. It's always, I never know what I'm going to paint.
Right.
So I'm just throwing colors onto the canvas, and then I can always sculpt something out of the colors. You know what I mean? So a lot of times it's faces. I can see faces forever. You know what I mean? So if I do something abstract, it's more of a color palette in my head. And because my mom, great designer, I grew up around just a bunch of well put together colors. So I always have a palette running through my head. If I'm painting and I change this color, well, then this has to go to pink, or you know what I mean? It's a never-ending flow.
So you described to me one time the concept of painting from the inside out or the outside in.
It's I don't know what I'm painting, so I throw maybe every painting is probably 7 paintings deep, so you're cutting from what's on there, you're cutting it, making it smaller, adding more. Basically, it's a different way of painting, color blocking, So a lot of times, all these paintings are 6 paintings below it, And I believe that they never die, you know what I mean?
For sure.
Whatever you go over is still underneath.
I've seen your work before in progress, and I'm like, that looks amazing. And you're like, I'm not done.
Yeah.
It looks entirely different, in 24 hours.
I'll paint something, and it'll be a good piece. And I can't remember who told me, but they said you can't be afraid to paint over a masterpiece. So if I paint a good piece, and I flip it on its side or something, and I see something that looks more intriguing, I'll just go with it. I've only messed up twice.
Just twice.
But bad. That sticks with you.